Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are now joined by Nicole Groover. Excited to have her here from beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. And she's the owner of Enlighten, LLC. She's a life coach and so much more. Welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for asking.
Well, thanks for being here. Would you mind saying hello and introducing yourself to our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. So my name is Nicole Groover, and I am the owner of Enlighten, LLC. I started the organization back in August, but actually have been life coaching, mentoring, and facilitating training of some kind for several years now, and really just kind of wanted to walk in what that meant for me on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm happy to be here today to share that with everyone.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Would you mind giving us a little bit of your background? Where did you grow up? What brought you into this life coaching field? Would you mind sharing a little bit intimate details about yourself so we can get to know you? And then I would love to discuss all the services, of course, that you can provide to help our listeners with today.
Sure. So I was born in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I guess I've been a teacher since I was very small. I was told by my mother, because of course I can't remember, that when I was about 5, I was in kindergarten, and my sister was here, and when I moved into the first grade, I would come home and teach my sister how to read and share with her everything I had learned in school. And my mother saw in me kind of early that that was kind of my direction or path, but of course we always choose. My mom doesn't want to know what she's saying. Maybe my parents don't know what they're saying, so I kind of struck out on my own thing. But even in every industry that I found myself, so I've been in rental sales for cars. I've worked at a hotel. I've worked at credit card companies. But where I ended up at the end part of my kind of career was in project management and working with healthcare. And in each one of those industries, I found myself teaching in some capacity and helping others in some way. It was just a natural part of who I was. I wanted people to know what I knew and share with them. If I saw them doing something that may not be beneficial to their future, I was like, let me kind of step in here and help. And so it was really just following what naturally is for me. And I was like, I want to share it with the world and just kind of help everybody get to a place of peace and understanding about themselves so that they can tackle anything that comes into their life. And so that's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's a lot about you. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, great. Wow. So let's talk specifically in regards to the personal coaching that you do offer. As you mentioned, seeking assistance in those navigating through, life choices in a sense. Could you talk specifically about some of the types of things people come to you for specifically?
It's really a gambit in terms of what people come to me for. I have helped individuals with relationships. I have also mentored and helped individuals with next job decisions or just difficult decisions in general in life. What should I do next? How do I process this information? And so my assistance and my guidance that I provide to individuals is just not isolated. It's for your life, what you need in that moment. And a lot of times people think that it's based on something that is negative that's happening, but it could be something positive that's happening. And because both of those can be kind of stressful moments. And it's like, so what do I do with this positive information? How do I channel it and go into something even bigger and better? And if I go into something bigger and better, how do I handle what that looks like? What comes my way if I do this? And so it's all of those components of our lives, positive, negative, or just indifference. I don't know. I don't know how to go to the next level. I don't know where to go for the next step. All of those things I help people with because it's my sincere hope that whatever process that we need to work out for you, because it's individualized to each person. No one person is the same, and so no one technique applies to everyone the same. No journey is the same, and so I'm there to uniquely help you in your journey get to where you need to be safely and happy.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, let me just ask specifically this year, the past almost 2 years now with this pandemic, so many people lost a job, loss of self, loss of family, friends. I mean, learning how to, start a new career. I mean, it's been a hard year for so many. Are you guiding anyone? And, how has COVID affected your clients and you personally, if you don't mind me sharing?
Oh, absolutely not. I think this was a trying year for everyone, or the past 2 years have been very trying because it forced us to kind of shift and alter and change what we had considered our norms for so long. And so the individuals that come with that advice to say, okay, Nicole, I'm at a stomping ground. What do I do next? And even though it's kind of hard to see it in this way, it's actually an opportunity for you to, if you haven't before, and maybe you put it on the back burner before, now really look at it and say, okay, what is it that I do want to do? What drives me? What is my purpose? What makes me happy? Because we all know that when we talk about working, we spend the majority of our time there. We spend the majority away from our home. We spend more time with our colleagues sometimes than we do with our families. And so now we're in this unique position, although it's not the best feeling one, to really stop for a moment and say, okay, what is it that I want to do next? And make sure that these decisions that we make now are the best decisions for us. And in that, it helps us to kind of isolate the direction that we should go in, the avenues that we should pursue, even the help that is out there that we can kind of glean on to get us by until we get into the next phase of our life. So it's about understanding what our resources are, right? If I can't tap into this particular position and job right now, what is available for me to tap into while I get my next position? And so it's helping people navigate through what that looks like so that they understand, first of all, they're not alone. This is not an isolated event for you. This affected the world. Yep. And so collectively, we work together to say, okay, now that we know that we're not alone, what are we feeling right now? And work through what that means. And it says, okay, if I had the ideal situation, if I chose what was best for me, what would that be? And then how do we take the steps necessary to get there? And then what can we also tap into to kind of help us build a bridge until we reach exactly where we want to be?
Wow, beautifully said. And by the way, let's point out the website. Would you mind sharing the website with our listeners?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Would you mind sharing the website with the listeners?
Oh, absolutely. So my website is enlightenllc.com. And so it's enlightenllc.com.
Perfect. And also, it looks like you have a Black Women Working in America panel discussion coming up. That's a virtual session. Could you talk a little bit about that?
I am very excited about this. And so at Enlighten, we are trying to hit every aspect of our lives. And so it's not just isolated to our professional track. It's not just about our personal space, but it's also about being aware of society and the social changes that are going on and the social awareness that we all need to have. And so our kickoff panel is the Black Women Working in America panel discussion. It is open to all genders and all races, and it sheds a unique light on the experiences of Black women and what it looks like for them and the access that may or may not be there, and how we can partner across industries, across persons, to build these pathways and avenues for access, allyship, collaboration, growth, and education for Black women. And what is very unique about this panel is that it is featuring 3 Black women from 3 different generations. And each one of them have charted a course in 3 different industries. And so they're sharing with us their journeys, and they're going to talk to us about those things that are the same and are different, and how we can all help the Black woman experience in America in terms of what it means to work in entrepreneurship, in corporate America, all of those avenues, so that we get a better understanding and then we can collaborate collectively on how we move forward.
Beautiful. I also read on the website you help those in romance, in relationships.
Yes, we do. Every aspect. So in our relationships, we have 3 courses that are coming up. So this is part of our weekly series. And so the weekly series has it's leadership development, but then there's also relationships. And what I want people to understand is that even though it may be titled leadership development, a lot of the skills and techniques that we learn in these classes do parlay themselves into our personal lives, because in every aspect, we're dealing with people. It's just that the positioning of the people are changing. When I'm at work, I'm dealing with associates, colleagues, managers, and leaders. When I am at home, I'm dealing with children, parents, siblings, friends. And so the titles of the individuals may have changed, but how we work with, understand, and communicate with people doesn't change that much. So in our relationship series, we're talking about what it means about reacher, responder. What role are you playing in relationships? And what does that mean? And how does it cause some of the anxiety or frustration that you may be experiencing? We have another one that's called My Pain is Wrapped in Preference. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? What is our complacency with things that we know that are familiar, even though they may be uncomfortable? And then our leadership development is also looking at those things about how do I lead more effectively? What does it mean to communicate effectively? And so all of these courses wrapped up together make us unique, strong individuals and effective wherever we may find ourselves, be it at work or at home.
Gosh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. All right. What other aspect of your work do you want to share? Awesome.
I think the biggest thing for me is just, outside, of course, the weekly series, the panel discussions, is that one-on-one contact that we also have with individuals. So even though we have these kind of collective group experiences with the panel discussions and the leadership and relationship classes, because it brings individuals across the world, across different organizations, and in different places in their lives, you still have that opportunity to partner with someone in a one-on-one space where my time and your time together is effectively making sure that you can navigate successfully through your decision, through your relationship, through even the opportunity and what it looks like. And so the biggest thing for me is that when people come into the Enlighten space, that they leave out of it the best version of themselves. In fact, our motto is illuminating purpose and carving out personal pathways to success. And doing so with someone who genuinely cares about people, who has an attitude of servanthood and wants to make sure that you are successful in whatever it is that you have brought to the table to say, okay, today I need to work on this. Absolutely. So what do we do to do that? And pull out the tools and resources to make sure that you are effective in whatever it is that you've brought to the table.
Beautiful. And at this time, we need to take a quick commercial break. Would you mind sharing the best form and, of course, all forms of contact for our listeners today?
Oh, sure. The best way is probably the site, because there's a form where you can contact us. But if you would like to call, we can be reached at 980-553-1587.
Perfect. One more time. Bring it on.
980-553-1587.
Beautiful. Stand by. We'll be right back with more after the break. We ask that you all stay tuned, sit tight, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Have you been struggling to decide your next step? Or have you been looking for a way to grow and challenge yourself? Well, look no further. My name is Nicole Groover, and I am the owner of Enlighten LLC, which is a personal development organization that offers one-on-one life coaching, a weekly development series, and partners with businesses on the implementation of leadership development programs. Join us here at Enlighten, where we will illuminate purpose and carve out personal pathways to success.
All across Greater Fort Lauderdale, millions of taste buds are cheering. Because right now you can dine at top restaurants and enjoy amazing three-course meals starting at just $35.
So good. This is what I'm talking about. Pass the butter.
It's all part of Lauder Deals. Great deals at restaurants, spas, attractions, and of course, hotels.
Look at that beach view. Look at that minibar.
See all the Lauder Deals and plan your beach getaway at visitlauderdale.com/deals.
Hey, who ate all the key lime pie?
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back to the show. We are joined here by our friend Nicole Groover, and she's talking about her work as a life coach and all the work that she could do, which is pretty amazing. She's helping so many people all over the world. Now, she's from Charlotte, North Carolina, but you do work with people virtually, correct?
Absolutely. With the society that we live in now with COVID, we had to make sure that our services could reach everyone. And so we are virtual in a lot of our sessions that we do right now. In fact, all of our leadership and relationship services and even the life coaching are virtual at this moment. We certainly are eager to get back in the building because there's something about being face-to-face and seeing the light bulb go off for people when it's like, aha moment. But right now we are virtual, so it doesn't matter where you are. We are more than happy to work with everyone. Regardless of where you are, we're happy to be there.
Perfect. And I know you mentioned the company was established. Was that in August of 2021? So we were in the pandemic at that time, right?
We were. So I was started out in this space. As I told you before, I've kind of been training and teaching and mentoring my entire career, even though my job title may not have said it. And in my last organization that I was at, we had some change within the organization, and there was an individual that came to me who had just been newly promoted to management. And they asked, Nicole, what does it mean to manage people? And I was kind of taken aback, and I was like, well, let's change the phrasing around. We don't manage people, we manage tasks, we lead people. And they was like, okay, great. What does that mean? And so from that question really spawned this leadership development class that I started teaching at my organization. I built out a curriculum. We met every week, and I did that for almost 2.5 years. And in that leadership development class, I also began to mentor, and my mentorship wasn't isolated to individuals' desire to move, say, to the next level within the organization, but it was a lot about personally, what do I do? And that fulfilled me on a level I can't even begin to tell you. And I actually left that organization and was sitting in a space to say, what's next for Nicole? And thinking about it really hard and being quiet and allowing it to come to me. And it was like, what is it that you find purposeful in your day-to-day existence? What drives you to do what you do, to wake up in the morning? And my drive is to help people. And I want people to have someone beside them to help them, to guide them, to steer them, and even to have them think for themselves, to pose questions that have you say, what is the best course of action for me? Understanding who you are is so valuable to every decision that we make for our lives. I was guided for a very long time with doubt for myself, doubt that I could do it, doubt that I could say it, doubt that I could move it. And I had to realize that doubt had no place if I was ever going to be anything other than who I was in that moment. And so understanding that for myself, I wanted others to understand it as well. We are limited only by what we place on ourselves. It's not the words or actions of others, it's us. And understanding the power behind what we can achieve when we are given the right level of access to resources, skill sets, and it says, how do I transfer this from one place to another? And it was from that says, you know what, Nicole? Take this to everybody. You've learned it. You've shared it with others. Everybody needs to know. And so that is where I came up with opening my own company and pondered with the name because, of course, my name is Nicole, and so I wanted something with N in it. And I was like, what does this mean? And I was like, Enlighten. That's what you are when you come out of this. You are enlightened. You have a better sense of self, a better sense of direction, a better sense of here's where I need to go next. And it's those things that I wanted people to understand and what I struggled with before I got here and what called me to open my organization.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Wow. Wow. We have 10 minutes left here on the show, darling. What else, Nicole, do you feel is important for our listeners to get to know about you and your services?
I think the biggest thing to know about my services is that we are definitely here to meet you where you are at. And together, we navigate to the next step. So it's not about pushing you to a point where it draws you back, but pushing you to a level where you understand here's how you break through and move to the next step. And I think I want people to walk away from this and understand that every service that we offer is specifically geared for the personal development of an individual. And that personal development spans itself. It's like the roots of a tree. It hits every aspect of your life. And when you look at it from that perspective, and it says, if my roots are strong, I mean, look at the trees that we have around us. The roots are strong. That's why the tree is as tall and is as vibrant as it is. What it continuously needs is to be fed and watered. And that's what you're going to get at Enlighten. We are going to foundation you with roots in the soil, and we're going to continue to feed and water those roots so that you become a strong tree, so that when the storms come, you may bend, but you will not break. And so that's what I want people to understand, that you have the power. Let me give you the skill set. Let me give you the partnering. Let me give you the support to help you get there.
And how does it work if someone is interested in reaching out? Is there an initial conversation? Is there an initial discovery call that you offer?
Yes. So a lot of people sign up on the site itself. There is a life guide coaching session guide that's out there. Registration for the classes, you can just pick the ones that you want and register for those. Dates and times are out there for those as well. But if you want that personal one-on-one, there's a form that you fill out, and then we establish a consultation for you. And so we walk through kind of what your needs are and what you're looking to achieve, and that's where we kind of set up our cadence. That's where the cost comes in, and that's where, okay, how long does this take, and what that looks like for you overall, what we're trying to achieve. And it could be multiple things at once, or it could be one thing. But if you don't want to fill out the form and you want to speak to someone, you can certainly call the number, which is what I gave prior to the break before, which is 980-553-1587. Or you can fill out the form on the website, which is Enlighten, LLC.com, N-L-I-G-H-T-N, LLC.com. But we also have an email. We want to make sure we can hit every avenue of communication so that no one person is left out. And so if they want to email us, they would email us at enlightenllc@outlook.com. And so those are the avenues that people reach out, and then we get right back with you and start to build out what it looks like for you. So I certainly encourage everyone, if they have a chance or an opportunity, to definitely check out our website, sign up for a course. But if you want that undivided individual attention as well, and you want someone to partner with to help you navigate and kind of be your guardrail so you don't fall off the road, but someone's there to kind of catch you and help sure that you make it there safely, then I definitely would sign up for a life coaching session as well.
Good to know. Thank you so much. Wow. There's so much to your work, and I'm sure there's so many stories and so many people you've helped. Would you mind sharing, someone's, without using their name, but, someone that you've helped specifically that may resonate with some of our listeners here today? Would you share a success story or two?
Sure. I think the biggest success areas, I apologize, have come from individuals fully walking into who they are, understanding authentically who I am and being able to make better decisions as a result of that. So there have been several individuals that I have had life coaching sessions with that have recognized and understood that they don't have to settle, that they now have a pride within themselves and an understanding of themselves, that they know that who they are and what they can do is applicable everywhere. And so I've had individuals who have stopped working at their present jobs and found other jobs to work out, or followed their passions and opened up their own jobs. I've had individuals be strong enough to deal with the conflicts within their relationships and be able to either say yes or no to whatever that was for them. I've also had individuals give up certain habits that may have been detrimental to them had they not, understanding why the habit formed in the first place, and it became a coping mechanism for something else. But I think the biggest thing is people who have I think the biggest thing for me would be trauma. And so there is someone that I'm working with now, and that there has been some trauma moments in their life. And all of us have experienced trauma on one level or another, right? Everybody's trauma is different. There's no comparison of trauma, but trauma has an impact. A lot of trauma comes from childhood, things that did not process well. And so this individual had trauma to the point where it was a deterrent for relationships that they were in. And there were certain behaviors and patterns that this individual was displaying as a result of the trauma, but didn't understand it fully. Knew they were doing it, didn't understand why. Relationships never last. I meet somebody, it goes good, and then all of a sudden it falls off. And so it was a deep dive into the history of the individual, understanding the trauma, understanding the triggers of the trauma, and then how do we start to process that and move past it. And in trauma, there must be forgiveness. And a lot of people don't understand that forgiveness is a tool that sets you free. To not forgive keeps you bound, keeps you in bondage, keeps you in prison. And so when we navigate through trauma, we have to come through forgiveness. And understanding that forgiveness is the lock or the key to the lock that sets you free. And now you can look at things objectively, process in a different way, and the steps and the kind of the things that you were doing before, you can start to relieve those and change how you behave, change how you communicate, change how you respond, because those triggers don't hold the same level of impact over your life. And so I think that particular case for me was the most powerful, because I went through something similar with my own traumas and how I was behaving and conducting myself. So helping someone else come out of that, knowing what the liberation did for me, and now seeing the liberation on that person, I can't even explain it. I can't even explain it.
Wow. It's a beautiful thing you do, and you clearly have passion for it. I hear it in your voice. And you're sharing some amazing stories. So we still have 3 minutes left in the show, so I want to ask what else that's important to you that you want to share with our listeners before we have to go.
I think the biggest thing for me, if anybody takes away, is whatever it is that you are dreaming of, whatever it is that you see for yourself in your future, don't wait another moment. Act on it now. If anything that I've learned in my 47 years of living is that life is short, and we have to put our hands on what it is that we want now. And sure, it may not work out the greatest when we first do it, but the fact is I took the step, I took the leap, I took the act of faith.
Beautiful.
And what faith I want you to have is the faith and belief in yourself that if you are given the right tools, the right partnership, and the right navigation, there is absolutely nothing in this world that you cannot do.
Beautiful. Nicole, thank you so much. And would you mind reminding us of the website and how we could reach out to you before we go?
Oh, absolutely. So let's start with the phone number. It is 980-553-1587. The website is Enlighten, LLC.com, which is NLIGHTN, LLC.com. And then you can also reach us by email, which is enlightenllc@outlook.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to the next time we speak. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Same here. Thank you. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.